antifreeze and water. So I got this thing outside, got the wheels off of it, got it soaking down with some good old Easy Off oven cleaner. Works good on grease and loose paint. I wouldn't recommend you get it on plastic or some aluminum stuff because it will fade it. But it's been sitting here for a couple hours. It kind of dried up, and I'm gonna go ahead and knock some of this loose dirt off of it best I can, and try and get it ready to be sandblasted. So here we go. Alright, got it all pressure washed. Tried to get off as much grease and grime and mud. Had all kind of mud and stuff on it. Of course, this car was in the country, so everything now just surface rust. Once you get the rest of the paint off that GM put on there, which was very little, let it dry. See all the surface rust. So now I just got to sandblast and hopefully be able to get some primer on everything before it gets too cold. That's my game plan. Get it all primered and get it painted, and do something about that inner fender. And then we can move on to the wiring and hopefully be ready to drop the engine and transmission back in there. So I got this thing outside. We got a lot of rain coming through. It's all windy. I'm gonna try and get it sandblasted right quick. I don't know if it's gonna work. Once I sandblast it, can't get wet. But I got everything all stripped down, got all the wiring out of the way, the inner fenders out of the way. So I'm gonna try and at least sandblast part of this frame before the rain comes in. I think we're gonna have 2 days of rain. It's always raining when you're trying to do something outside, but we'll see what we can get done. Hurry up and get it done and get it back inside. So let's see. Alright, as you can see, I've been sandblasting. It's been clouding up all day. Had a little sprinkle come. I had to push it back inside, wait on it to stop sprinkling, and then came back out. So I'm getting a lot of it done. This thing's got a lot of surface rust on it. And you're probably wondering what I was doing with that big strainer, siffer. You can reuse this blasting material, but you have to sift it out. You have to put this funnel in there. This is a Harbor Freight special. You put the funnel in there and you use this big siffer to sift all the trash out. Some of it will slip through and it'll stop your nozzle up. That's getting kind of worn. To stop that nozzle up, and you probably see me take it off and flick it out. It's just dirt, trash, rust chunks. I tried to put this piece of plywood up under here, so I stepped on the siffer to catch the sand as it comes out. That way I won't have to sweep it up off the ground and put it back in the sandblaster, because my driveway's got like some little small pebbles and trash and stuff. I meant to blow it, but I'm trying to hurry up and get it done before the rain comes in again. So I got all these pine needles and leaves. But yeah, it's starting to come though. I just got to keep emptying that sandblaster out and keep the trash out of there. But I've got most of this side done. Probably gonna have to hit it with a grinder anyway, with a wire wheel. But I did get a lot done over here. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. I even tried to get the rotor a little bit where the wheel goes because it was kind of hard to get it up on there. But I'm probably just gonna do under the frame with a wire brush on my grinder, because trying to lay up on the car like that and sandblast, it's really not a good idea. You have stuff all in your face even though you're wearing a mask. I always wear protective gear when doing this because there's little particles of sand. I'm using the crushed glass medium abrasive glass with the sand. You get this from Northern Tools in a bag. Harbor Freight wants probably 50 bucks for a box of it. I think Northern Tools got that for $9.99 if I'm not mistaken. I bought 3 or 4 bags, but I'm gonna keep sanding at it and try to get this thing back inside, like I say, before some more rain come through, because I don't want no rain on this bare metal. That's just more sanding I gotta do. And so I'll get it back in, and then we'll do some more cleanup under the frame and get some primer on that baby. And I think I gotta take the upper control arms off before. These bushings are all jacked up. They're all busted. So I'm gonna put new A-frame bushings on both sides on the top. While the engine's out, it's easy to get to these bolts. The bottoms look pretty good. I'm gonna put new shocks in the front. And so anyway, I'm gonna keep sandblasting with the Harbor Freight 2000. I ended up putting a pressure regulator on here to regulate it down because I think it was sandblasting a little bit too hard, kicking the sand out too hard. So but anyway, I'm gonna get back to work, and I'll show you guys the finished product. So I decided to weigh this converter, and this thing weighs about 28 pounds by itself. You can see somebody had took a piece of metal and patched a hole in it, so that was kind of hillbilly-ish. But just think of all the weight on that car. I mean, just that converter and the pipe is 28 pounds. So that's no longer going to be on there. But I guess it had a rot out problem, or maybe they cut it open and gutted it, but it feels really heavy. So anyway, just fun fact to know. So I got the old 301 out here. Of course, it's nighttime again. It's the only time I can, I guess, get pressure washing done. But this thing is really, really greasy. I got it soaking with some oven cleaner and try and make this thing look decent before I tear it down, because it's just grease and oil. Acorns, grass, you name it. So the speedometer in the car says 25,000 miles, but I don't think this is a 25,000 mile engine. It's got a lot of grease and grime on it, so that thing probably either stopped working or it rolled over a couple times. But anyway, I'm gonna pressure wash it, get it up on the engine stand, and then we'll tear it down. Alright, so here's the plan. This is the 4.9 301 turbo engine out of the 81 Trans Am. Of course, you know. What we're going to do is tear this thing down and see exactly why is it locked up. This thing has got a lot of stuff on it. I mean, if you had to do a head gasket job back then, you had to have a photographic memory how all of this goes back together as far as the turbo and the 15 million vacuum lines that operates all the vacuum gauges and sensors and emission control stuff. So I'm going to attempt to tear this motor down so we can at least see what is locked up. I mean, it's been sitting, soaking, and it just will not move. So it's got to have some water in the cylinder, some rust. I don't know. So I got to get some of the brackets and stuff off of it anyway for the other engine. So let's just go ahead and tear it down and see what we're working with. I know I look kind of discombobulated, but it's so much stuff going on up in here that you got to take off just to get the turbo off. There's a couple metal pipes that run from up under the intake over to the turbo. I had a lot of rusty bolts, had to get the impact out on those. So now I'm trying to get the intake off, the turbo intake off, because you can't get to the back intake bolts. So I got to get these, it's like a metal pipe that's threaded in, going to the turbo setup. A lot of stuff to take off. If you was a mechanic working on these back in the day, I commend you, because there's a lot of crap on these motors I wouldn't want to dig into back then. You had to be a brain surgeon. And that's rusted too. That is definitely rusty. These metal pipes right here. It's wrong size. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and rip all this off. I'm gonna get it down to just the intake and the heads and the valve covers, and then we'll go from there. Because that's a lot of recording me fiddling around. A lot of this stuff gonna have to be heated up, and I don't want to burn up camera time and your time either. So I'll be back. So I was able to get this piece off at least. This is going to the pollution pump. What I'm going to do, since this pipe, this metal pipe that's going to the turbo won't come loose, I'm just going to try and pull the whole intake off with the carburetor, turbo and all, just the whole setup, because it's got a lot of rusty stuff going on. And it's not going to make any sense to try and heat that up and really burn up a lot of time. So I would much rather pull the whole intake off. Because this pipe right here, that pipe and the one behind it is rusty, and it's going to burn up a lot of effort. So I mean, every bolt on here is just rusted solid. It's almost like this motor was completely underwater. Don't get it. And everything is we'll do the best we can though. Taking the fuel pump off on this side, just this hose right here. We have a stack of parts. I mean, they engineered this thing just right. So this bracket here can stay on there. Now we just got all the intake bolts, I believe. Like I said, if I can get the intake off I'll leave all that up. The battery getting weak. Take that extension off. The old turbo motor. Try and get you guys in there, but it's kind of hard to do. We'll do the best we can. So we got, it's a bracket right there. I had to bust out the swivels. Let's see if we can get this hook off of here. Frankly now, you ain't going back. All this stuff is cast iron too. Tell you what. That's rusted. Thermostat housing blocking one of the intake bolts. Have to get a big boy for that. Ooh, still got water in it. Oh, that's from when I washed it properly. It's thermostat right there. There's front intake bolts. Weird bolt that's going straight here. I couldn't get the water pump pulley off. It's off now. Ooh, listen to that water pump. Rusty. That is a 1/2 inch, I think. Nope. 7/16. Weirdest intake I've ever seen before. Of course, it's Pontiac. So we got the front intake bolts loose. Now I gotta get back here to the back, right where that pipe is. Man, I hate that thing won't come loose. Might have to get in there with a swivel. Because that turbo is right there where it's at. I don't know if I can just swivel in there or not. I'm gonna try. It's one of those stud Swivels are dangerous. That's the bracket for turbo. A lot of this stuff is gonna keep because somebody might be building one of these turbo motors. I'm not gonna put it back in, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I did have someone come in about wanting the turbo stuff. He hasn't got back with me. Let's see here. Maybe I can swivel that in there. That's gonna be too long. Yep. Let's see what goes short with it. It's this bracket that's right up under the, the bolt is right up under the turbo. Thing about swivels, if you get them in a kink, they will not turn. And that's what's going on there. So I'm gonna have to get a ratchet wrench and get that one bolt out of there. But I don't think this intake's ever been off of this. Matter of fact, I know it's never been off. These bolts are so rusty. But if we get the intake off, that's the start. That's like the hardest thing. Get to right now because it's a turbo. A lot of guys are like, oh, just keep the original motor. Somebody might want to put it back in there. Yeah. We'll keep the original motor in pieces. By the rust coming out of this exhaust pipe going to the turbo, I know it's locked up, so might be rebuildable though. If it had a lot of horsepower, it'd be worth saving, but they just ain't worth it. Guess we need to pull the distributor out too. So that's one side of the intake bolts. We got two more under the turbo and the distributor, which really you don't have to pull the distributor out because the intake is funny looking. It's got a valley pan too. So we'll wait on the distributor. We'll wait till a little later on that. Let's see, can we get the intake off? I think I can slide the intake out of there without disturbing it, which it don't matter anyway. Now one more bolt back there. And it's in a bad spot. It's always one bolt. Let's see. there because I mean it's the last intake bolt. It's always that one special bolt. And the swivel ain't gonna get it. I don't think. Well, we might have something. Nope. It's that doggone pipe. The pipe is in the way. Might have to get it with a 1/4 inch extension. No. Don't have a 1/4 inch swivel, that's the problem. I can get on it, but that pipe is right, catching it right there. Try it one more time. I think I got it. Spinning my wheels. Let me see, can I find something to get that one bolt loose? Then we can get this intake off. Alright, so I finally got that hidden bolt loose. Let's see, can we get this intake to... It's gonna be one heavy dude. Got... I didn't see it was a bracket over here. Some more bolts. Have to have deep well. Bolts, bolts, and more bolts. How many more bolts can you have? Should lift right up now. Oh my God, this thing weighs a ton. Should I get the engine lift to pick it up? It is freaking heavy. Let's make sure everything's on hook. This is gonna be like one of those pick up and goes. Oh gosh. Oh man. That is one. got it halfway. So if anybody needs a turbo setup, here you go. Complete. Needs a little rebuild. Okay. Something's definitely hanging out over here. It's got a oil line coming from the block. Okay. I think we're good. Christ. Oh, that's a lot of weight on the motor. A lot of weight. No wonder the cars were so slow. They had that big cast iron intake and turbo and God knows what else. So now we're down to, ooh. This thing got broken valve springs. There's a valve spring keeper right there in the hole. So this engine is really turd out. I'll show you. Let me wipe my hand. There's a valve spring keeper laying down inside of the head. And that's not supposed to be there. Let me get my hands wiped off. Get some light. That's a new one on me. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Right there, you can see that is the actual valve stem keeper, the top that goes over the valve spring, and then you got the little keepers that keeps the valve from dropping. So this thing could have a drop valve. That's what's wrong with it. All the push rods seem to be in there. How did that happen? I don't know about the other side. I mean, they must have been flying when this thing went down for that. And this side over here is clean. We won't know until we take the valve covers off, but it had some real bad issues going on for that valve spring keeper to be laying there. So let me zip the valve covers off and we'll see what's going on there. That is not a good sign. So it's probably got drop valves, and that's why it won't turn over, because the valve is dropped. So they must have been rolling when it went down. And maybe it got so hot that it melted the valve spring. We can just, there ain't no bend in that bracket. Stop being lazy, loosen the bracket. Might can get it out of the way a little bit. Just a tad. Alright, let me get, I think that is a 10. Nope. 7/16. Yep. So we'll pull the trouble side first, because it's definitely something wrong on this side. You just don't know until you tear these engines down. Then you find out what's wrong. But this is going to tell us right here, right now. Let me get something to pry that up with. Can't believe that. I see orange silicone, so someone's had the valve cover off. Well, all of them are on there. Everything's still connected. So where did that come from? Let's see, can we dig it out of there? Got a lot of rust on there. This engine was on the water. Is that something the manufacturer did? Somebody put new valves in it? See, that's the actual valve stem retainer, keeper, whatever you want to call it. But all of these are connected. So how did this get in there? It had to be a manufacturer thing. Well, somebody had it off because I see orange silicone. So that intake has been off before. Maybe they put new valves in it, or maybe that was from the manufacturer, but it's definitely got a lot of surface rust. A lot of surface rust. This engine was full of water. So anyway, let's pull off the other side. See what that looks like. It looked like all the push rods are connected. So it's gotta be something. Maybe they did it from the factory, or maybe somebody, like I said, had replaced some valves. Maybe had a broken valve spring at one time. Like Derek says on Vice Grip Garage, I don't know. This one's easy. About the surface rust. Everything's connected. So somebody had to change out a valve spring over there. But it's definitely had some water in it. It's been running with a blowhead gasket. So our next thing is to pull these heads off, and we'll see exactly what the cylinders look like in the pistons. I guess we can pull the valley pan off. It's got an actual valley pan. No need to pull the distributor. So we'll snatch these heads off and check that out. Maybe we'll get some more surprises, which I know it's going to be some rusty cylinders. What we're going to do first is go ahead and bump the head bolts loose. Then we'll take all the push rods out. Make sure if you're doing heads, you want to do the bolts kind of a zigzag. Sometimes you can look up the tighten and loosen in sequence, and it'll show you exactly which bolts to take loose first. Some of these bolts are bad shape. See, we got those. It's torqued on there pretty good. So that's that head there. Let me zip off these rockers. I think these are 15s. No, 17s. This is 17. Let's use a .38. Okay. There we go. Unless you're dealing with a junk motor, but usually if you're dealing with an engine you're going to put back together, you want to do those bolts in sequence. Everything is covered with so much rust and goo. Sockets get stuck. Ooh, right there, cut a finger off. Really, you can just leave these rockers loose and then just pull all the push rods out. I bet it's got a bunch of stuck lifters too. Also, keep up with your push rods unless you put new ones. you can lay out a piece of cardboard, kind of number them where they came out of each lifter. That's a stuck lifter there. Push rod won't even come out of it. Look at that. That's jacked up. This engine's pretty much trash. It can be rebuilt as long as the block ain't cracked, but you have to get the block checked. Make sure if I had water in it and they ran it hot, make sure it ain't cracked. So let's pull the valley pan off too. I already took the bolts loose. Ew. Rust. Lots of rust. Got a lot of rust in there. This engine was really full of water. So let's go ahead and get these head bolts. We'll pull this head off. These heads are probably no good. Like I say, you have to get them checked. Make sure they ain't cracked. The way this engine looks, I would say that it's probably gonna have cracked heads. Like I said, they got it hot and it's set up so long, water in it. But you don't ever know until you get it checked. Let's pull these head bolts out so they won't be hanging up. A lot of these head bolts are different lengths, so you might want to lay them out. On some engines they are different lengths. Usually you can tell because they have high and low spots on the heads, and that means the bolts are either going to be longer or shorter. Alright, let's pull this head off. Let's see what it's looking like, at least on this side. Then we'll get to the other side. Make some room. I pretty much know it ain't going to be too pretty. Make sure I got all the bolts loose. Oh, got one. Oh, I forgot. I got transmission fluid and PB blaster in there. Let me get some oil dry put over here. I had filled the cylinders up with all that stuff trying to get it to turn over. It's gonna get all on the floor. So. Okay, here we go. Oh gosh! Oh, that was a push rod. Oh man. Ooh, those cast iron heads. Alright, for let's look at these pistons here. Let me get something to wipe my hands off. Not too bad, just some carbon. See some surface rust right there. You can see where the PB blaster and transmission fluid mix is still holding in some of them. The rings were probably free on that one because the oil has soaked through. Got some carbon buildup, and I see some rust. Not too bad though. Usually they're rusted up real bad. I hate making messes. Yeah, that's some rust right there. But they're not all rusted up real bad, you know. We don't know what the other side looked like. I think maybe this would have pushed through if it did turn over. And we'll just wipe that around in the cylinders. And so let me get this other head off and we'll look in there and see how bad it is. But you can see all this rust up here. It's been water in here all the way up. It's not milky, it's just rust, like almost like the engine was up on the water or something. But the cam lobes look good. So strange. That last bolt, it came loose with the impact. I ran out of air, had to turn the compressor on. So I hit it with the torque wrench, came loose, and then it stopped. So I ran it back in, and then it finally came out. Talking about rust issues. So this head's loose. Let me snatch it off of here. Oh, gonna have transmission fluid and stuff pouring everywhere. Let me get some oil, girl. Try to be clean a little. Alright, should be ready. Get the old pry bar. There we go. Uh-oh, better get over there. We're gonna have a head on the ground. Oh, look at that cylinder there. That's the bad one. Jesus. That's the bad cylinder. That's our corporate culprit. I can't get it out, still out of breath. That's the bad one. You know what I mean. Look at that. Big bunch of scaly rust. It's, can't find my other flashlight. It disappeared from me. But that's, oh, the piston's cracked. Piston's cracked. Right there. Piston's got a crack in it. Let's dig some of that stuff out. Oh yeah, this thing is screwed. Piston's got a hole in it. They must have ran the snot out of this motor. Ooh. That's a lot of rust. So, this engine would have never ran. Try and get some of the gooiness out. There's a hole right there in the piston. And this cylinder is really rusty. They must have just ran this sucker so hot that it just grenaded itself. Maybe they were out somewhere trying to get home. But yeah, it's a crack right on top of the piston right there. That cylinder is really bad. So that's what the problem was. That's why it wouldn't turn over, because this cylinder right here has got all that rust in it, and the piston's cracked. So it's going to need a total rebuild, which I'm not going to do because we're not going to use it anyway. So that's it. The 301 is tore down. We know what happened to it. It got hot, cracked the pistons, filled up full of water over the years somehow, and it's locked up. So it ain't no use even taking the oil pan off, because we basically see what the problem is. So heads might be good. Got some stuck valves right here. That's the cylinder that's bad. Look like that's a piece of a piston right there. So stuck valves on that head. I don't know about the other head. This head looks good, but we don't know if it's got any cracks from sitting with water in it. But yeah, definitely that cylinder over there, so why it won't turn over. So that's gonna be it on the 301 engine. It's just a parts engine. Don't know if the block's good, it might be bad. By looking at it, I think it is gonna have to be vatted and cleaned real good and then tested. That lifter right there is stuck. It won't even go, it's not even touching the cam lobe. We got a stuck lifter there. I bet you all of them are rusted stuck. So that's gonna be it for now on this 301, and we're just gonna move on to getting the 400 engine ready to go in, to just crank it and see how it runs, and then we'll determine if we want to do anything to it or if we need to do anything to it. But we pretty much know this one's junk. Water pump, it's got full of rust. So anyway, like I said, I still got to do the A-frame bushings on the car. I got to fix that hole I knocked in the evaporator heater core box, and do something about all this wiring. So, and then we can blast some paint on it, make it look nice, and then we'll put the engine in. And if the engine sounds good, we'll leave it in there, determine if we want to put a cam in it or not, and go from there. So y'all hit that like button, subscribe button. There's more to come.